The warning moon. The shuttle descended through Celestria's twilight atmosphere, and Dr. Cale Thorne pressed against the viewport, mesmerized by the bioluminescent forests sprawling below. After years studying xenobiology on Earth, he'd finally secured a position at the remote Harmony Station, humanity's furthest research outpost. "First time on Celestria?" asked Commander Riley, noting his wonder. "First time anywhere beyond Mars," Cale admitted. Riley's expression darkened. "Then you need to know about her. Princess Nixera. The Stellan heir. I've read the diplomatic briefings." "Forget the briefings." Riley's voice dropped. "She's been exiled here, supposedly for her own protection, but the truth is darker. The Stellans are empathic shapeshifters, and she's the strongest of their bloodline. She can reach into your mind, make you feel things that aren't real, bind your very essence to hers." Cale raised an eyebrow. "Sounds like xenophobic propaganda." 3 researchers have already requested transfers after encountering her in the Spirit Gardens. "She appears like moonlight itself," they say, "beautiful beyond description. But get too close." Riley shuddered. "Stay in the designated human sectors. Promise me." Cale nodded absently, already captivated by the alien moon's mysteries. His first weeks passed in routine sample collection and analysis. But each night, he found himself drawn to the observation deck, gazing at the forbidden spirit gardens where phosphorescent trees pulsed with ethereal light. Sometimes, he thought he glimpsed a figure moving between the glowing trunks, graceful, solitary, achingly alone. One evening, while cataloguing nocturnal flora just inside the permitted zone, the temperature suddenly dropped. The lights around him intensified, and he heard it, a sound like crystalline wind chimes mixed with a woman's sigh. "You're not afraid." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Cale spun, his heart racing, to find a figure materializing from silver mist. She was humanoid but otherworldly, skin that seemed to contain constellations, eyes like binary stars, hair that flowed like liquid starlight. Princess Nixera stood before him, magnificent and melancholic. "Everyone else runs," she continued, tilting her head curiously. "But you keep watching my gardens. Why?" Cale's scientific mind warred with primal awe. "Because running from beauty seems foolish, even if it's dangerous." For the first time in months, Nixera smiled, and the gardens bloomed brighter around them. "Silver dreams. You shouldn't be here," Cale whispered, though he made no move to leave. They stood in the margin between permitted space and the forbidden gardens, that liminal zone where rules blurred like her edges in moonlight. "Neither should you," Nixera countered, her voice carrying harmonics human vocal cords could never achieve. "Yet here we meet, night after night, pretending it's coincidence." 3 weeks had passed since their first encounter. Despite every warning, Cale found himself returning to the boundary each evening, and she was always there, sometimes solid, sometimes translucent, always hauntingly present. "Tell me about Earth," she requested, settling onto a luminous stone. Her movements were fluid, as if gravity was merely a suggestion. "Why?" Cale sat carefully distant, though something in his chest pulled toward her. "Because I'll never see it. The council decided my fate long ago. Marry Prince Zelian of the warrior caste, secure our bloodline's power, never leave our system." Bitterness crept into her melodious tone. "But in your mind, I sense oceans that don't glow, skies with only one sun. Show me." "You've been reading my thoughts." "Only the surface emotions. I wouldn't dig deeper without permission." She pulled her knees up, suddenly looking vulnerable. "It's not mind reading, exactly. More like feeling the color of your feelings, the texture of your hopes." Cale described Earth, rainforests and deserts, cities and wilderness. As he spoke, Nixera's form shimmered, and he realized she was unconsciously reflecting his memories, her skin showing fleeting images of blue skies and green fields. "You're homesick," she observed. "Not anymore," he admitted, then caught himself. "I know what you mean." She moved closer, and he felt warmth despite her cool appearance. "I've been exiled here for 2 cycles, and you're the first person who looks at me without fear or greed. Do you know how lonely it is, being treated as either monster or prize. Their meetings shifted to the crystal caverns beneath the station, where surveillance couldn't reach. There, surrounded by singing crystals, they talked for hours. She taught him to interpret the moon's bioluminescent language. He shared human music that made her cry liquid starlight. One night, she reached toward his face, stopping just short of contact. "If I touch you," she whispered, "you'll feel what I feel. Everything." Cale's breath caught. Everything. My loneliness. My hope. My. She withdrew her hand, growing affection for a human who sees me as Nyxera, not as princess or weapon. He caught her retreating hand, and the universe exploded with sensation. The touch of starlight. The moment their skin connected, Cale gasped. It wasn't pain, it was overwhelming intimacy, as if every barrier between them dissolved. He felt her centuries of solitude, the weight of expectations, the fear of being used for power. But beneath it all, burning like a newborn star, was her genuine desire for him. "This is what I am," Nyxera whispered against his mind. "Can you bear it?" Instead of answering with words, Cale pulled her closer, letting his own emotions flow back, his fascination that had grown to admiration that had become something deeper. She trembled in his arms, solid and warm now, no longer the ethereal phantom of their early encounters. "You're really here," he marveled, fingers tracing her face. She felt unexpectedly human, though her skin still held that subtle luminescence. "The more you accept me, the more real I become to you," she explained. "It's how stellar bonding works. We exist partially in psychic space, only those who truly see us can fully touch us." Their lips met, and it was like tasting starlight, electric, ancient, impossibly sweet. Through their connection, he felt her joy cascade through him, amplifying his own until they were both laughing, crying, clinging to each other in the crystal cave. "The council will never allow this," she said against his neck. "Then we don't tell them." For weeks, they met in secret. She taught him to shield his thoughts from other Stellans. He showed her human intimacy, the simple pleasure of holding hands, the comfort of quiet companionship without psychic communion. They created their own world in those hidden hours. But paradise was fragile. During a routine medical exam, the station's doctor noticed unusual neural patterns in Cale's brain, evidence of prolonged psychic contact. Commander Riley confronted him that evening. "You fool," Riley snarled. "Do you know what you've done? The Stellan Council has sensors throughout the station. They'll know she's been bonding with you. It's not illegal. It is for her. She's royal bloodline, promised to another. They'll take her back, Cale. And if she's truly bonded to you." Riley's face paled. Forced separation from a psychic bond can kill a Stellan, or drive them mad. That night, Cale ran to their meeting spot to find Nyxera surrounded by shimmering figures. The Stellan Guard had come. "Step away, human," their leader commanded. "The princess returns with us tonight." "No," Nyxera's voice rang with power. "I claim the right of choice." The guards hesitated. Even Cale knew that tradition. Any Stellan could refuse an arranged marriage if they'd formed a true bond with another. "Then prove it," the leader demanded. "Show us this supposed bond with the human." Between two worlds. Nyxera took Cale's hand, and their combined aura erupted through the cavern, silver and gold intertwining, pulsing with shared emotion. The Stellan guards stepped back, their forms flickering with surprise. "Impossible," the captain breathed. "A human shouldn't be able to." "Yet he does," Nyxera interrupted. "Our bond is complete. By ancient law, you cannot force me from him." The captain's form solidified into something more threatening. "The council will not recognize a bond with an inferior species. Prince Zelian's fleet is already en route. You have 3 days to end this willingly, or they will end it forcibly." When the guards vanished, Nyxera collapsed into Cale's arms, her light dimming. "I've doomed us both. Zelian's warriors won't hesitate to kill you." "Then we run," Cale said firmly. "Where?" "The council has influence throughout the galaxy. Not in the neutral zone. The abandoned colonies near the Void Nebula, no government claims them." He cupped her face, feeling her fear through their bond. My research grant includes a small ship. We could leave tonight. You'd abandon your career, your species. I'd be the first human to study Void Nebula's ecosystems. And as for my species... He pressed his forehead to hers. Maybe it's time humans and Stellans had a real alliance, not just treaties. We could be the beginning. They had 48 hours to prepare. Kale quietly gathered supplies while Nixra used her abilities to cloud surveillance. But the hardest part was deciding whom to trust. To Kale's surprise, Commander Riley offered help. I was wrong about her, Riley admitted, watching them prepare. The way she looks at you. I had a wife once. I know that look. She handed them encrypted coordinates. My brother runs a settlement in the neutral zone. He won't ask questions. Other researchers contributed too. Dr. Chen provided medical supplies for cross-species compatibility. Engineer Torres modified their ship's shields to hide from Stellan sensors. Even some Stellans at the station, tired of the rigid caste system, offered assistance. You're not just running, one young Stellan told them. You're proving we can choose our own paths. On their last night, as they loaded the final supplies, Nixra pulled Kale aside. There's something else. If we do this, truly bond across species, there will be changes. For both of us. Changes. You're already becoming more psychically sensitive. And I'm becoming more physical. More bound to linear time and space. She searched his eyes. We might become something new. Neither fully human nor Stellan. Kale kissed her deeply, tasting stardust and possibility. Then we become something new together. The ship's engines hummed to life as Prince Xelian's fleet appeared on long-range sensors. The Unity Eclipse. Their small ship, dubbed Convergence by Nixra, slipped through Celestria's orbital traffic as the massive Stellan warships approached. Kale's hands flew over the controls while Nixra used every ounce of her power to bend light around them, making them nearly invisible. They're scanning, Kale reported, watching the sensors. If they detect us. They won't, Nixra said through gritted teeth, her form flickering between solid and ethereal. I won't let them. Just as they reached the jump point, Prince Xelian's flagship transmitted directly to them. He'd found them. Nixra, Xelian's voice boomed through the cabin. You disgrace our entire species with this aberration. Surrender, and I'll make the humans' death painless. Counteroffer, Nixra replied, her voice carrying across psychic frequencies to every ship. You leave us in peace, or I reveal to the entire fleet how you murdered your previous bride when she refused your touch. Silence stretched taut. Kale looked at her in shock. The council covered it up. But I felt her death echo through the psychic plane. He thinks power means possession. She opened a general channel. Warriors of the Stellan fleet, I am Princess Nixra, last of the pure Lyrian bloodline. I have chosen my bondmate freely, as is my ancient right. Will you follow a murderer's orders to destroy love itself? Several smaller ships began breaking formation, their captains conflicted. Xelian's rage erupted through the comm system. Then you'll die together. The flagship's weapons charged, but suddenly, multiple human vessels dropped out of hyperspace. Commander Riley had sent word to Earth's diplomatic corps. Stellan fleet, Admiral Harrison's voice cut through. Any attack on that ship will be considered an act of war. Dr. Thorne and Princess Nixra are under joint human-Stellan diplomatic protection as cultural ambassadors. Ambassadors? Kale whispered. Riley's voice came through on a private channel. The xenobiology community petitioned the Earth Council. Turns out, many of us believe interspecies cooperation is our only future. You two are just the first brave enough to try. More ships appeared, not just human and Stellan, but others. The Etherian Collective, the Silicon Mines, even the isolationist Void touched. Somehow, their love story had spread, becoming a symbol of possibility. Xelian, outnumbered and politically outmaneuvered, retreated with a final threat: this isn't over. But it was, at least for now. 3 months later, on a small colony at the edge of the neutral zone, Kale and Nixra stood before representatives of 12 species. Their bond had indeed changed them. Kale's eyes now held flecks of starlight, while Nyxra had gained the ability to exist fully in physical space without effort. "Do you take this being as your bonded partner, across all dimensions of existence?" the Etherian officiant asked. "I do," they said in unison, their voices harmonizing in ways that shouldn't have been possible. As they kissed, their combined aura rippled outward, and several other mixed couples in the crowd smiled, feeling the validation of their own choices. The station had become a haven for those seeking love beyond the boundaries of species, culture, and form. That night, as they lay entwined in their quarters, Nyxra whispered against Kale's ear, "Thank you for not running when I asked you to love me." "Thank you," he replied, "for being brave enough to ask." Outside their window, the stars shimmered with infinite possibility, no longer divided by the imaginary boundaries between their light. Their child would be born 7 months later, the first human-stellar hybrid, whose existence would revolutionize both species' understanding of life itself. But that night, they were simply two beings who had chosen each other against all odds, proving that love's evolution recognizes no limits. The whisper that had begun in a forbidden garden had become a song heard across the galaxy, a harmony of hope in the vast darkness between stars. End of story.